again, it almost felt like a movie, and NYPD even had their own photographers out there. Gene, I want to ask you, we thought that Mangione was going to Rikers, but now we've got
Right.
the Fed charges, so he's going to be in the federal prison in New York City, same prison as Diddy. Gene, you've actually been in both of those prisons. You've been in the jail and you've also been in the federal prison. What's the difference? What are the conditions like in each place?
Well, I can tell you this: if he's going to MDC Brooklyn, he's probably going to end up in 4 North. I don't think they're going to put him in population with the government. I think they're going to keep him where Diddy is, possibly, and where Sam Bankman-Fried is as well. So he just walked into paradise. Rikers Island is an absolute hellhole. I was on the show, I think, a week ago, and I had said how horrible it is. It's the most violent jail in the country. So he actually got lucky. He's actually happy. He should be happy the feds came and got him, because he's going to be in a much safer place. I can tell you that much. But I had told already that the feds were going to take him the last time.
Yeah, I was just saying that's what I thought when I first heard it. I mean, the federal prisons are typically much nicer than state prisons. So I would imagine, like you said, this is going to be better conditions for him. The lawyer's probably happy about that.
Well, I mean, better conditions, but if he goes into population, it won't be. I don't think they're going to put him in population in the feds. I think that they're going to put him in 4 North because he's super high profile, and he'll be very happy in there. No worries. There'll be no worries in MDC Brooklyn 4 North, Ben.
If this was to get all the way to trial, Mark, how difficult would jury selection be? I'm just thinking about how many people are familiar with the case, and then you've got all these very bizarre Mangione supporters out there. I mean, TikTok is insane right now with the people obsessed with this guy and obsessed with the haircut today, and it's crazy. You think it could have a real impact on a jury selection?
Absolutely, and I will tell you the first thing, as you know, Brian, I'm fixated on jury selection in criminal cases. Remember, the Southern District includes a larger geographic area than the Manhattan District does. So you're going to have a larger pool with which to draw, number one. Number two, you're going to have less time for jury selection. Traditionally, judges in the federal court give you a lot less time. Now, you might say, what's significant about that? As you know, if you're going to try to identify, if you're the prosecutor or the defense, a stealth juror in a high-profile case, and that's the biggest fear on both sides, you don't have too much time to be able to do that. And as to your point, I have rarely seen the kind of support pre-trial for somebody charged with murder that there is for this young man. It's astonishing, the polling that I've seen for under 30, the number of people. I mean, I've had cases where somebody charged with murder, the prejudgment rate of guilt and animus is upwards of 98%. This guy has support exceeding 40% in people under 30. It's astonishing.
Yeah. Yeah, that poll was crazy. You make such a good point, Mark, about a stealth juror. I hadn't thought about that. If you get one of these young Mangione supporters who tries to sneak onto the jury and says that they're non-biased just because they want to get on the jury to hold things up, that's such an interesting point. What do you think in terms of the federal trial, the death penalty on the table? A lot of people are talking about that. Do you think that could really be likely in this case, Mark?
I do. I do think it could be likely, especially with the, I don't think that they're going to make the decision before the next administration.
No.
The next administration, I believe, will have a decision on whether to bring the death penalty, because that generally runs up traditionally in DOJ, the flagpole, so to speak, the proverbial flagpole. The Trump administration, if they're anything like the first time around, was much more death penalty, had a much greater affinity for the death penalty than the current administration. So is it likely? Yeah, I think it's entirely likely that they could seek the death penalty. By the way, be careful what you wish for. In the state court, a death penalty conditioned jury is generally pro-prosecution. In the federal court, bringing a death penalty case in New York City, which is a kind of anti-death penalty for the most part, that may actually have a boomerang effect. So I would be very careful if I were on the prosecution side of the aisle as to whether or not I engendered even more sympathy, or if there is such, for somebody who is a stealth and says, I'm never going to vote guilty to let this guy get killed. I think he's a hero. I mean, that's, Brian, all you have to do is open up, as you say, TikTok, even the X feed. I mean, there is a substantial group of people who think he's a hero.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.